Hello, you are welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be looking at the cost of shocks, struts replacement cost and shock nut removal tools on Amazon. But before we continue, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video. Shocks and struts are key components of your car that aids your vehicle's suspension. If you make sudden contact with a small bump on the road and your car fails to bounce, you may have to replace your struts, especially if they are blown. Shocks and struts wear out after prolonged usage, thereby necessitating replacement. The lifespan of shocks or struts varies from 50,000 to 100,000 miles. In this video, we examine how much to replace struts, shock replacement costs, rear shock replacement costs, and 2 strut top nut removal tools on Amazon. How much to replace strut? Most car owners feel they can purchase low-quality struts for a replacement since struts are just small pieces of their vehicle. However, struts are extremely vital for your car's safety. So, it is advisable to go for struts produced with high-quality material to reduce repeated replacement, which can eventually cause you to spend more in the future. Strut replacement doesn't have to be done by a professional. You can fix it yourself, but it may take you much time compared to when a mechanic does it. Also, propping your car on a jack can be risky, but if you are experienced, you can fix it yourself. Strut replacement comes in pairs. You have to replace both sides even if one of them is still in fine shape. Replacement of only one may lead to grave suspension problems that may warrant you to end up spending far more than you envisaged. The brand of struts, the model of our car, and where you have your struts replaced are factors that can affect the cost of strut replacement. Averagely, the cost to replace a pair of struts can range between $450 and $900. A single strut assembly costs between $150 to $300. Invariably, for parts only, the cost lies between $300 to $600. Then you have to look at the labor. The service charge for a pair of strut replacements ranges from cost $150 to $300. Replacing your strut at a car dealership will be more expensive, as a typical front strut replacement cost can take at least $1,000. Also, it is vital to perform a wheel alignment after strut replacement. This calls for additional costs. A 2-wheel alignment takes about $40 to $80, and a 4-wheel alignment takes a total of $80 to $160. Shock replacement cost. Shock replacement also comes in pairs, just like struts. Shock replacement is cheaper than strut replacement because they aren't so intricate when measured up to struts. The average cost for a pair of shock replacement varies from $250 to $580. A single shock replacement costs about $50 to $140. This means that getting the components alone ranges from $100 to $280, while the labor cost for shock replacement is about $150 to $300. If it warrants replacing all 4 shocks or struts, you will get the ideal cost range by multiplying the total cost by 2. Rear shock replacement cost. When shocks and struts start leaking, they will need to be replaced soonest. The rear shock replacement cost is the same as the front shock replacement cost. It costs about $280, $420 for a pair. Unlike struts replacement, you don't necessarily need to replace the wheel alignment when you replace your shocks. Front shock replacement cost. The front shock replacement cost is the same as the rear shock replacement cost since they come in pairs. It costs about $280, $420 for a pair. It's unnecessary to replace all 4 shocks concurrently unless they are faulty. A vehicle with 4 worn-out shocks will call for the replacement of the 4 for your ride to be smooth and bump-free. Shock and struts replacement cost. As discussed earlier, the shock replacement cost ranges from $280 to $420 for both, while the struts replacement cost ranges from $450 to $900. Shock and strut replacement cost differs, with strut being more costly than shock due to their complexity. Shock absorbers are packed with oil which an expert mechanic may notice during maintenance. Your car's shock and struts must be replaced if they leak oil. This is because both components will automatically stop operational if there is a deficient oil level. However, this oil leak isn't the only sign of a fault shock and struts because both can still stop working even when there are no oil leakages. 1. The Utmall Hub Suspension Strut Nut Removal Tool allows the extraction of the top suspension nut by clutching the strut piston. This is to prevent it from so it doesn't swivel or rotating while trying to remove the nut. Also, the socket and ratchet design make it easier for the extension to pass the focal point. This top nut remover will be used with a half-square drive ratchet or T-bar. Additional features and extensions include, go-through ratchet, 21mm, go-through, 82mm, deep sockets, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 24mm, extensions, female hex, 7, 8, 9mm, male hex, 6, 7, 8mm, slotted, 5x8, 6x8, 7.1 by 9.6mm, DRX Star, T50. 2. Lyle 62300 McPherson Strut 2, is a low-cost but excellent safe strut spring compressor that perfectly matches all strut spring sizes, both import and domestic products. It features heavy-duty clamps and bolts that firmly grasp the spring during removal. 3. CTA Tools 303914 PC. Shock Absorber Toolkit. This shock nut removal tool facilitates the removal of the top suspension nut by handling the strut piston so that it will not rotate while spinning the nut. This tool is fashioned using chrome vanadium. This shock nut removal tool features 7 go-through deep sockets, 3 hex bits, 1 sliding T-bar, 21mm go-through ratchet, 2 slotted double sockets, 82mm deep sockets with different sizes ranging from 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22 and 24mm sockets. This tool is to be used in juxtaposition with the 1/2 inch drive sliding T-bar for additional torque. It also comes with 3 extensions, male hex, 6, 7 and 8mm. Includes 2 slotted double sockets, 5x8 and 6x8. 4. The 6-piece shock nut removal tool set. Tools for removing and installing shock nuts, is used for removing and installing shock nuts. One top advantage of this shock nut removal tool is that it fits most shock stems. 5. Lyle 20400 Universal Shock Absorber Tool. The Lyle 20400 Universal Shock Absorber Tool is ideal for removing and installing shock nuts. This shock nut removal tool comes in 6-pack. The hex nut socket perfectly matches the nut with a 9 ounces shipping weight. Benefits of struts and shocks replacement. Blown struts and shocks will cause you to feel the shock each time you hit a bump on the road, no matter how small. However, replacing your strut and shock will make your ride enjoyable, and you won't feel the bumps and jolts on the road. Apart from making your ride even and smooth, strut and shock replacement guarantees the longevity of your vehicle and other components. It is advisable to have your struts and shocks replaced as soon as possible to prevent extra damage to your car's gears and additional cost of repairs. How soon should I replace blown struts? If you notice you have blown struts and shocks, ensure you replace them within 7 to 14 days to avoid additional complications on other components. You can still drive your car if the recent strut or shock blows up, but exercise caution, particularly when driving on a bumpy road. Contact your auto mechanic as soon as possible to have your strut and shock replaced. Also, ensure your mechanic checks your struts and shocks during each maintenance and checkup to detect the issue on time. In conclusion, the majority of contemporary vehicles have struts at the front and shocks in the back or rear. Some other brands may have the same type in the 4 wheels. Struts typically function as the whole suspension assembly, while shocks work as part of the whole suspension. Shocks and struts replacement is necessary because they both work together to manage braking and roll while making a bend. They also boost the comfort and safety of the driver and passengers. The wear and tear of shock and struts will affect your vehicle adversely if left unchanged. Driving with bad shock and struts will lead to fatal swaying, poor braking, and shaky steering handling. Your mechanic can perform shock and struts replacement if you like the experience to fix them. This is all we've got in today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.